I do feel, don't you though, sometimes that the subconscious plays such a huge part in how you write, and that sometimes the writer isn't always in complete control of the medium. Sometimes there are things leaking in which you yourself are only half aware of, or because you'd have to use all of you, not just the bits, just the top layer you're aware of, you know.
So I'll go halfway on it, and I'll say I think you are completely in control of it. However, because you're in control of like what you actually write down, but your subconscious is enormously impactful. And sometimes you write to the end of a book and only then realise that you've been telling a story that you didn't realise you were telling, and that you can look back and see, wow, there's this enormous theme running through this entire book, and I didn't intend to write about that, but apparently that's what I'm interested in now.
Yeah, and it's what people pick up on most, but you had no idea that it was being sort of smuggled in, as it were.
Yes, and I think that's probably one of the things that makes or could make the difference between a book being good and extremely good, where you don't want to see the joins, you don't want to see the bits of the construction, like I'm going to take you on a narrative journey about grief and loss and stuff. What you want is to experience somebody's journey without the character realising that they're having grief and loss, and preferably without the author realising as well, until you get your climax moment at the end.
Yeah, and in a way you have a sense of discovery is as important for you as it is for the characters. Sometimes I would say, like, I'm not a very thematic, diagrammatic plotter. For me, plotting is really important, but I think plotting too tightly can deprive the spontaneity.
Well, I'm very envious of people who can plot out a whole novel.
Me too.
Because as much as I've ever tried to plot anything, the moment I start writing, I have a better idea, and all the plotting I've done goes out the window. Obviously, if you're writing secondary world fantasy, there's this temptation to do world building and write Tolkien-esque style, histories of the gods and things like that. And I know that if ever I try it, it takes me 30 seconds of typing, and then I'm like, but what if it was in the industrial age?
Right. I mean, so we've touched on this before, but you are more conscious in the way that you use your own personal experience, for instance, and funnel it and siphon it into your writing. Whereas I always remember an actor friend of mine said to me, he was like, the moment I realise I've got a character is when I realise they're me. And I was like, that's completely different for me. The moment I realise I've got a character is when I realise they're nothing like me. So it's clear neither one way or the other is right, but there's a sort of correlation between those two attitudes, I think, between us. Like, I abhor the idea of any personal experience creeping in, whereas you actually, it's very rich for you. Yeah,
I can only enjoy the book and the characters if they are reflecting some aspect of my own experience. Which
I find so interesting, because it's just not at all how I work.
Okay, and maybe we'll save that one for next time if we have any viewers. Was that? I think that's good. I think let's high five that one. Yeah. Okay. So next we're going to hear a question from my nephew Alfie, who asked me. I asked my sister. So Alfie is 3, and I asked him. So his best question was, why does a knight have no boot jets? So, well, Alfie, a knight has no boot jets because I don't think there is such a thing as a boot jet, is there?
I think also if you're a knight, by definition, you don't need a boot jet. What do you
think it would be? Like a rocket boot?
I think that's what he means, right?
Oh, he also asked, why does Green Lantern not have a cape?
Because it gets caught on the door when it hits him on the way out.
That's probably true. We'll leave that one for our viewers.
I thought that was quite a good comic book burn, but there we go. I mean, doesn't he?
He doesn't have a cape, no. But he is the worst of all superheroes. He just looks like garbage, and his power is he has a ring that does stuff for him. It's like lame. Okay, finally then today on the Cat and Ed podcast show.
The Cat Show featuring Ed.
I will accept it. We are going to do some, I promised some reviews. So, what are you reviewing today, Kat?
Okay, so times is tough. Today I'm going to be renewing wine. Today I'm going to be reviewing this half-eaten packet of pork scratchings, which I had some of earlier. So
Okay.
So both of us, we both had a little taste.
Okay. Hey, let's just hold them up.
So these are pork scratchings. I don't think they're even pork scratchings.
What's
they're
the
actually
brand?
referred to as pork crunches.
Traditional black country pork crunch.
Pork snacks.
They're not pork scratchings. Look, if we hold one up.
They're actually not. So they're a little.
They're like Wotsits made out of pork.
For the discerning viewer, they're like a light alternative to a pork scratching. So they're sort of aerated.
What's the crunch?
Crunch factor is quite high. They're quite good. Yeah, I can hear that.
Good crack.
I can hear it in my head when I eat it. It's salt factor very high. Consciousness of doing damage to your body extremely high, which you always want from a crunchy salty snack.
They do taste exactly like pork scratchings, even if they're not technically.
But they're sort of like not pork scratchings as well.
At £1.29, would you say this is a buy or a fail?
I mean, I'm really enjoying it. And in these times, I don't know, you can put a price on a salty, crunchy snack, so I'm going to call this a buy.
Okay, you heard it here.
Good.
If you're apocalypse eating, get a pork scratching.
Yeah, eat them.
Or a non-scratching, whatever they are.
Good.
I think that's enough reviewing.
What are you going to review?
Right, okay, I was going to review this half-eaten packet of ginger nuts.
Yeah.
My take on these ginger nuts is that as they have been for the last 40 years.
Yeah.
They are delicious, and I highly recommend everyone to eat them. However, as we have noted previously,
they can be very loud.
They are loud biscuits.
They are loud biscuits. When eaten during a tense moment, a climactic moment in a television show or a film, can be quite disruptive. Just to bear in mind in these close quarters, in these tense times.
So, obviously, it should be noted, ginger nuts are the optimal biscuits for dipping in tea because they will hold their structural integrity even when moist.
Then deprive them of a salient part of their identity. So
that's true. They're not as nice when you dunk them. So
they just become like any other biscuit, really.
It's a double-edged sword, and if you're relying on biscuits as your method of drinking
I'm
tea,
still trying to finish off this last bit before scratching. It's like still in my mouth.
Okay, well.
Okay.
So you know now what to eat for the apocalypse and what to read and how to write a book.
I think our work is done.
Yeah, that'll be it for today.
Okay.
So we'll say cheers to you. Happy apocalypse writing and reading.
Be safe. Stay inside.
Stay indoors.
Buy our books.
Yeah, buy our books.